Welcome. My name is Joy Koff of Miracles of Joy, and today we're doing a channeling with Ka Horne. Kay, I want to talk a little bit about channeling because I know that you get a lot of your information. You write a lot of information. Is that true?
Yes, absolutely. I started out that way and I continue now. So that's the primary way that I get information. I get it in other ways whenever I'm speaking with someone. I see picture clusters, or I just know things, or I feel like if I'm speaking, then I feel like water's being poured through the top of my head, not through my mouth. But primarily, I write information. When I'm painting for someone, I'll write a message on their canvas. But I started out by writing for myself, and then it branched out. They gave me information on how to do the abstract representations of people's souls energies, the soul portraits that I do. So all of that was because my guides gave me written instructions on how to do all of that.
So I know tonight that you have a certain subject that you would like to talk about.
I do, yes.
And
yes.
It's called What is Angelic Consciousness?
Right.
And from what I understand is you've been connecting to your guides all week long, so they've given you some sort of detailed information to share. So we're going to go over this and share some of that information and kind of talk about this. And then at the end, you're going to actually channel some information.
Right. So
okay.
What this is starting out, this information that I received, it's not normal accepted kind of information. So this is just a warning for people that this information is out of the ordinary, perceived perceptions of what angelic energy is. So be prepared. It's something a little bit different. So I was surprised. So are we ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So tonight we're talking about angelic consciousness. And I asked my guys the question, what is angelic consciousness? And this is what they said. Angelic consciousness is a guiding, influential energy providing humanity assistance meant to affect life journey pathways of experience when a soul deems engagement of influence is desired. Angelic energies is in the form of directional energy is meant to lend assistance and guidance toward a desired life purpose and mission. Therefore, it is a directing, powerful, influential energy meant to propel circumstances, situations, and experiences toward beneficial outcomes for humanity and all life expressions. Although angelic energy may be felt in various forms, ranging from subtle to extreme, it is nonetheless vast in intended overall connective influence and effect. And I found when I was receiving this information, line it's saying that it's vast. I understood that part, but what surprised me was that how it was intended to affect overall connective influence. So that means with all humanity. So I found that interesting. So moving on, continuing with what I wrote. Different degrees of actual force or influence may be felt by humans depending upon predetermined attributes of awareness on a soul basis. The soul determines the receptivity of actual energetic responses accordingly in consideration of the soul's master plan or life purpose direction. So I guess that means that your awareness, according to your evolutionary process of your soul energies, determines whether or not you're even aware to be connected with this energy. So I found that interesting also. Moving on. Angelic consciousness or energy force is an aspect or part of the soul's energetic expression. That's not something that we're generally taught. It works in tandem with the soul's desired life journey experience. As a life journey is mapped out and planned by a soul, different options of experience are offered. Engagement of angelic energy is provided as a means of guidance, redirection, and comfort, depending upon individual circumstance. Therefore, it is not separate from the soul. So I found that surprising. It is within the soul energy as influencing energy brought forth during stressful experiences. Well, we all know that we pray whenever, and we ask for guidance from the angels whenever things get tough, right? Okay, that's a given. Although humanity views and accepts angelic consciousness as individual expression outside of itself, in truth, it is an aspect of the soul energy and therefore expression. That was news to me right there. In keeping with the evolution of humanity's level of awareness, separation ideology is no longer beneficial to its growth experience. New elevated energy experience is desired as a whole. Therefore, the mass consciousness of humanity is manifesting and creating new levels of elevated life opportunities, including expanded consciousness of self-awareness. Various versions of angelic consciousness are available for individual engagement and use. Depending upon desired results, a version of angelic energy may be called upon for utilization and experience. There are many expressions or versions to call upon, such as healing, which includes comfort, balance, and well-being. Other energetic options are creativity, knowledge, inspiration, and many others. In addition, strength, power, and manifestation influences are available to provide increased energetic force and effect. Angelic consciousness is positive, influential energy force, which is available for utilization and implementation by humanity as a beneficial tool of guidance leading to desired results and accomplishment. As humanity's self-awareness evolves, it will acknowledge the power and energetic forces within, including the realization that angelic consciousness is within oneself and all creation. All life in the Milky Way galaxy is some form of angelic consciousness and life form expression. It is the force energy within humanity and all life expression. It is a limitless energy force included within the soul energy and therefore mankind. So what all this says to me is that the angelic separation identity process that we have been taught all our lives is actually an energy expression. It's not individual representations like human form, something like human form, much more elevated for sure, but not something like a life force or a consciousness. I don't know, Joy, what do you think about this information?
What I'm getting, what they're telling you, let me put my camera back on, sorry about that.
That's a pretty picture though.
What I'm getting from the information is we've all heard in the Bible, and even if you want to talk about when Jesus came to earth, one of the messages that he gave us is that God resides within ourselves,
right,
in our heart. So we can't channel what we're not part of on some level. So if we're connected to Archangel Michael, then on some level, Archangel Michael is connected to us on a soul level. When we're connected to the angels, our human self, our ego self, needs to put a consciousness around it to make it something outside of ourselves, because we're taught from the beginning of time that we're not powerful.
Exactly, for sure, yeah.
And it feels like that the information that you're receiving is very similar to some information that I received a couple of years ago. And one of the messages that I brought through, and it has no name, when I channel it, is I will call it the feminine divine, because it really doesn't have a label. You know, it's like labels, human beings are labels.
Yeah.
Those labels are for people to understand and what we're channeling, if that makes any sense.
Right, to identify with it, I think.
To identify with it, to be able to turn around and have our ego mind kind of wrap around what is this that we're bringing through at that particular time. And one of the messages that I received at that time is, you can't channel something unless you're part of it. It is part of you, and you are part of it. So this is very similar information, Kay. What it's saying is, yes, I'm Archangel Uriel. I'm this consciousness, but you know what? Humanity is part of us and I'm part of it.
Right. That's what I've been told. My guides say that I am of the brotherhood of white light of the Uriel consciousness. That's what flows through me directly. And it's in and of me. It's like I recently, well, not recently, in the last few years, I feel like, I'm walking in two worlds most of the time, I don't stay very grounded. So that's probably why. I try to stay as high as possible, but regardless, this was surprising information to me because I didn't realize that the angelic energies are part of the soul energy. It seems to me like the vision I kind of got was that this is it's like a extra shot of jet fuel available to us to create with, to embody, and we can use it on all the levels that we always have. But to understand, it's part of us all the time. It's not something outside of us. It functions through us all the time. It is part of our divine powers, our divine energies. And that's primarily the message of Uriel coming through me. Always it's been about God in all things and all there is, and understanding your powers, your rights, and your freedoms as a powerful soul having a human experience. So this is just another aspect of that. So this information, I think, is coming forth at this time, particularly in a lot of different forms from a lot of different people, so that humanity can get used to the idea that they have limitless power available to them. It's just we've been taught that we are not powerful at all. So I thought that this was very good information, especially with what I do. So I hope that people will just think about it and get used to it, and take it within themselves. I asked a couple of other questions while I was connected this week. The next question that I asked was, how does angelic consciousness affect your life experiences? And this is what they said. Angelic consciousness can be called upon when assistance, support, or influence is desired. It can enhance and provide additional energy when commonplace energetic force is lacking or insufficient. Although accepted by humanity as individual in nature and separated from itself, which is what you were talking about, Joy, it is nonetheless extra power and influence within one's soul and therefore personal energies. When utilized, it will elevate and expand one's power of expression. Acknowledging angelic energetic force as increased power and vitality will expand consciousness beyond normal levels of achievement and experience. So what that says to me is that we can call upon and embrace angelic energies at all time, 24/7, 365. And by doing so, we will elevate our energies because it is a divine consciousness. It's part of our own divine consciousness, which is inherent to our soul energy. So it is a part of us. And so that we can call upon that and embody that and experience life much easier and more gracefully and more pleasurable than we ever have before, because we can utilize this power that we have with us. It goes on to say, in activating angelic consciousness within one's personal energetic expression, massive amounts of increased energy will be provided to achieve new expansion of growth possibilities. The inclusion of angelic consciousness within your personal life experience will illuminate your awareness of what is and the probability of increased perception of truth and self-awareness. Angelic consciousness is a connective aspect of humanity's divine energies, consciousness, and soul expression. When incorporated into the perception of self-awareness, limitless, expansive, elevated life expression may be experienced and expressed. Now, my guides have always told me that we're limitless, but I didn't really understand how we achieve limitless life expression. So this makes it, this explains to me how by embodying this information or this energy, actually, that we can, and this information, that we can live in an elevated level, expansive consciousness experience.
So, Kay, one thing I would like to probably add to this is when we call upon angels, it's because we've been taught as human beings from our religious background, you know, that these are beings outside of ourselves. And if they want to grace us with their pleasure,
yes, exactly,
creating something in our life, that we need to pray to this thing that's kind of outside of ourselves.
Right.
And this goes really against what our egos know.
Yes.
So sometimes to praying outside of ourselves, yes, you know, you could say those angels are connected to our soul energy. They're connected to us at a higher level. And whenever we ask them for help, they show up and deliver the help that we're asking for.
Right.
And I think it takes practice and I'm going to say of our putting our ego in a check, if that makes any sense.
Well,
You
it's
know,
all developing a new habit.
Our egos want to make us small.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Make us small and not good enough, and we're not worthy, and we shouldn't accept this power.
Right.
And that when you accept power, sometimes it's when it comes to women accepting power, it was always known as being arrogant.
Arrogant. Yeah. And nastier words than that.
Right.
Yeah. You know?
And I feel like I understand what they're saying, because at some point, you and I have had this conversation within the last 3 weeks when I needed things done for my business because of everything that was going on with COVID-19. I would say, Archangel Michael, fix this now. And I'm like, you gotta fix this now.
And I remember telling you that, you know, that is a part of you. You're just calling upon the Michael essence within you. But, you know, it didn't really click at the time, when this really brings it to the forefront and just puts all of that information into motion more so. So, yes, exactly.
And it was amazing, because I feel 2020 is really about manifestation. It feels like there's no separation when it comes to when we can create something that we want to create. It's getting created very fast. And what I mean, like in that particular situation, it was, they were not going to let me have my loan money that I was actually approved. Oh, just wait for the next, you know, PPP program.
Right.
Get this document to us. And if you don't get it to us, you can't have this. And when I said, fix it now, it was like 5 minutes later, the phone rang and it said, well, we decided to make an exception for you. We're going to put it through. Just get that document to us at a later time. And I'm like, really? Banks making an exception?
Exactly. Talk about enhanced energy boost and influence. Oh, geez, that's a supreme example of that. Well done.
So is that what Joy just described? Is that an example of how you include angelic consciousness into your life experience?
Yes, exactly. You just call upon them. It's very easy. It's just we have never been aware that we could do that on a regular basis, because we think of it as something different outside of us. But that's exactly how you do it.
So our ability to connect with them then is our power that you spoke about?
Yes, it is part of that power. It's part of your soul. It works in tandem with your soul energy. So that soul energy is you. It's part of you. Of course, that your soul is eternal and has had many different experiences, but still, it's you in this particular present form. So I went on to ask how to connect with and utilize angelic consciousness. So this moves right along with our discussion here. Humanity has been interacting with angelic consciousness or energies throughout written history and before. Biblical stories enhance the awareness of its power. However, it also provided perceptions as being outside of and separated from humanity, which is what we spoke of before. Therefore, it has been accepted as life expression somewhat like humanity, however elevated in nature, still a separate, distinct life expression instead of a consciousness or energy. Therefore, as humanity shifts its self-awareness, it can release limiting perceptions to include energies meant to enhance its life experience. This is using our power. Awareness of energetic possibilities is vital to humanity's evolution. Therefore, by calling forth with awareness, focus, and intention, just like Joy did, increased powers of manifested creation will provide opportunities of increased well-being and experience. Da-da, right? All right. Angelic consciousness can provide guidance, direction, and achievement of desires, experiences, and results, as Joy testified. Its positive energetic force and influence increases exponentially as it is utilized and can become embedded into one's life journey experience. I found that to be very, very important and very interesting, because that's exactly what we're talking about, by embedding it into our life journey experience. And that's what it's meant to do. Call upon angelic forces when extra energy is desired for guidance, inspiration, healing, and accomplishment. In doing so, you are acknowledging, bringing forth, and experiencing your divine energetic expression in motion. So it's like, okay, in addition to the other energies I call forth, I'm definitely going to be embracing my divine angelic consciousness, the Uriel consciousness, to function, you know, alongside my divine energies. I try to call upon those every day. I use those to cleanse my energy and to release bodily pains. You know, I'm not young, I'm 65. So, you know, I get aches and pains here and there. So, you know, and so I call upon that energy. I embrace my divine energies to help me release all pain, sorrow, grief, whatever else is going on with me. Infection nowadays, you know, you never know. And imperfections, so that I can have good health and well-being, because I just hate going to the doctor and I hate being sick. I got stuff to do. I don't have time to be sick. And I sure don't want to spend my money on the doctor. I'd rather spend it traveling whenever we can again. So anyway, I found this to be extremely helpful for me.
So, Kay, when you talk about connecting to this, and how would you tell someone how to do that? Like, what is it that they could actually do on a daily basis to feel that connection?
Well, it's really so simple. We make everything so complex and so complicated so that we won't do it, right? It's very simple. All you do is call upon, say, I call upon whatever Michael to come through me and to help me throughout the day in whatever instance I may need. So it's just acknowledging, accepting it, and embracing it as a regular life function. You can then just include it with your prayers. It's very, very simple. It's not complicated at all. So anybody can do it anytime, anyway, you know, in times of need. It's easier to do it in times of need than it is, like, you know, say every morning or in the evenings or whatever. But our angelic energies are always with us, because our soul energy is always with us, and our divine energies are always with us. It's just we forget to utilize those because we haven't been taught to do so. So it's developing a new habit of experience. And we're all learning to do different things now. So now's a good time to embrace it and to bring it forth, especially if you want to stay well, I think.
Mm-hmm. My next question that I'm going to have for you is, when we talk about this a little bit more, is I'm noticing that I can get angry for no reason whatsoever. It almost feels, and when I tune into my guidance and I said, okay, you know, nothing has happened. Where's this coming from?
Right.
What I feel, or what I kind of get, is humanity is becoming more one. So sometimes if you have this anger that comes to the surface out of nowhere, it could be you're just picking up on the group consciousness of humanity. You're plugging into that group consciousness.
Definitely. I've had those experiences myself recently. So I've had to sit down, redirect my energies. And the easiest way I find to do that is first, in fact, I did that today. I did some gratitude affirmations. That always helps lift my energies. And there's all kinds of things on YouTube. You know, access to all kinds of meditations that are helpful. I like the I am meditations and affirmations. You know, I use those all day, every day. But by utilizing those to help with every aspect of my life, it makes a big difference. And what it does is within focused intent, you're redirecting your energies and lifting those energies and releasing those energies. And once you figure that out, and really, it's not taking very long to do so anymore. We used to go, with this cranky energy for weeks at a time, but now it seems like, 2 hours, and that's a long time to be cranky anymore. So by just recognizing it, say, oh yeah, that's what this is. Or even if somebody else has caused you to be that way, to look at what they have said or done in a different way can help shift your energies too, and help you refocus on something that's more elevated in expression and more comfortable to be within energies anymore. I mean, I don't know. I don't like to be uncomfortable. I'm beginning, like, not only my hair, but my whole energetic expression is beginning to be like Goldilocks. I don't want it too hot or too cold. I want it to be just right. So, affirmations help me to stay that way, or to get that way, or to be that way. So you're so right about that sort of thing. Are there any questions or anything that anyone wants to discuss? Okay, moving on. So on our agenda, I found it interesting in definition to try to determine what is our soul energies. So it seems like we have a lot, it doesn't seem, I know we have a lot of options available to us of experience, but I understand also that we come with a soul mission in mind. Some people have short lifetimes, and that's determined by their soul energy. We don't know that, but it is. And others, we have very long lives, or at least long lives for us. So what drives that particular purpose or life mission? Well, it depends upon different karmic expressions and what you've done in previous lifetimes. When I was channeling a soul symbol for myself, my symbology talked about how it has taken me 7 lifetimes. This is the 7th lifetime that I've worked on elevated consciousness. So it's taken my soul energy 7 times in human form, and that's not counting the 4,000 or 5,000 other lifetimes I had, my soul energy had. But it's taken, I concentrated on lifting my self-awareness and living in elevated energies at least 7 times. This is the 7th time that I've had an opportunity to do this. So I found that to be extremely interesting. So then I'm asking, what is a soul? What is that? What I've discovered is that a soul consciousness is eternal life force energy. And just the information received this week, that it brings with it different aspects of self, which includes divine energies, and the angelic consciousness and energies are part of that divine energy. And what do we mean by divine energies? It's an elevated, encompassing energy that doesn't recognize energies that are not within a, I want to say pleasurable, but it's not exactly pleasurable. It's a pleasant life experience. And I want to qualify that in saying that we all know that when things go easier for us, when we stay balanced, when we stay calm, our life experiences go easier than they do whenever we become upset, because our emotions override. It's chemical responses and energetic expressions that overrides our logic and our well-being. So by pleasant, I mean calm and balanced and peaceful existence. So once again, talking about this eternal life force energy, it is energetic expression that our soul energy is made up of. And there's other life forces like this in other parts, in other different galaxies. But the angelic energies, the angelic eternal life force energy has dominion in this galaxy. So that's something that's interesting to think about, to see how we can move forward with this knowledge. I don't know, Joy, how does this affect you in your thought process, considering yourself when you're trying to move about your day?
Well, I think what they're probably talking about is, the angelic energy is just a higher vibration. They're using the terminology angelic because that's what we're used to as higher vibration. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because we consider the angels of that higher vibration, but what they're saying is, we're just a frequency, and as a frequency, we're over planet Earth or the Milky Way or this particular galaxy, but yet there are other galaxies that exist that have different frequencies that they're over. That's how I feel that what they're communicating.
Yes, that's what I understood also.
And I feel like, what they're saying is when we have negative emotions that come up, it really means that things aren't going according to our ego's plan.
Mm-hmm.
It may be going according to our soul's plan, but it's not going according to our ego's plan.
Yeah, they're not the same thing for sure. Yeah, right.
And part of it is what stops us, or what makes us feel angry, or what makes us feel fear, or what makes us feel those emotions, is because we don't want to be hurt in moving forward, or we don't want to get in trouble, or we don't want to have any kind of, we don't want that risk. But at the same time, our soul is saying, hey, you need to take those risks and realize that we understand what your outcome is, and we already have it planned, but it may not follow your logical order. Does that make sense when I say that? Like, we don't create those miracles in our life because we don't see where miracles can come from.
Right, we don't understand where it begins and where it'll lead us. So by being bold and by trusting that all is well in your world as you're moving forward with whatever experience you desire, you can experience more. And by embracing, I found it as a very it soothed me to understand that this angelic energy is part of me, and that I can call forth anytime that I feel like I'm anxious, or I'm frightened, or I am self-conscious, that to know that there is power within me, and that this is a influential energy that will figure into everything that I do, and so I can express myself without fear, and to trust that all will be well. So, and we're not always taught to do that because it doesn't fit into the norms of what society thinks it should. So I'm learning that as old as I am. Every day I learn a little bit more about moving forward and being bold in my choices. So it's very encouraging information for me.
And I feel like, practice makes perfect with this. And what I mean by that is, once you trust your guides and your angels, and you go, wow, if I didn't go show up there, even though it was illogical, I wouldn't have met this person. And if I wouldn't have met that person, then this wouldn't have been created, or that wouldn't have been created. Now, prime example of that, Kay, is you and I actually went up to talk to Elena Fairchild at the International New Age Show about 3 years ago. And I mean, she's very, I would say, up there, like sometimes.
And fearless.
Yes. And we just, went up and just started chatting with her, and we bumped into her 3 times. So apparently we didn't make the connection we were meant to make. If you notice, we actually bumped into her 3 times at that convention. And what ended up happening on the last time, as I mentioned, that I had a metaphysical store in Dallas, Dallas, Texas area. And she turned to her manager and said, get her information. When I do the tour in the United States, I want to go and maybe she's the person we're supposed to meet in Dallas. So it's kind of like part of who I am is like, oh my God, these people are bombarded by hundreds of people at these conferences.
Yes.
And it's kind of like, you know, it's knowing that there's a connection. You're not really sure what that connection is, but then it's taking that step and just mentioning something and taking that step forward. And I
Right.
think that's true about any situation in our life. It could be our workplace. It could be any situation in our life. It's just like if we keep bumping into the same person and we don't know why we're bumping into it, it's because we're not making that soul connection we're meant to make.
True, very true. Or that we are meant to experience with them on many levels, apparently, you know. So yeah, that was a wonderful experience. She is fearless in her expression. She was very inspiring, you know, to go forth and do anything you want. So just doing this tonight with you is different for me, and so I'm learning to be outside of my comfort zone too. So, and to trust that all's well and that it's all going to all work out. So it's exciting to be alive now and to understand that we have the power within us to move forward, and we have all of these companions and different energies available to us. All we have to do is be aware of them, to utilize them, and to call them forth, and to be in the habit of doing so. Which is because we are of angelic energy. Think of yourself. Have you ever thought of yourself as an angel?
I have.
You have? I'm learning to.
When I was little, you know, I was just wondering what happened to my wings. I would ask my mom where
Now, you were born self-aware. Lucky you. I think more so children are being more born and more aware. I remember all I knew was that I was supposed to do something important, but I didn't know what it was. So I searched and searched and searched and searched, and I learned a lot. So the search was important, and journey's important. But now it's time to put into motion all of that knowledge that I have gathered throughout the years. So. Anyway, that's exciting. That's so cute that you wondered where your wings were.
I really, you know, my mom really thought I was talking about fairy energy. And then, you know, I'm going to say that I always knew angels existed. I spent a lot of time talking, you know, to my guardian angel and asking for assistance or creating miracles. And I'm saying, like, I sometimes think when I'll say sometimes we know we're angels incarnated, but when you're an angel, I call it an angel incarnated, it feels like your life goes to hell in a handbasket on several horrible experiences that you have throughout your life. And part of it is I feel like those experiences are meant to actually make us turn within. You know, make us turn back to, if I want to say God's not outside of, God is within ourselves. But at some point, it's kind of like you have these horrible experiences. I used to know everything was just going to go wrong all the time. What I didn't realize is I was manifesting everything to go wrong.
Right.
Because I was thinking everything was going to go wrong. So it all kept going wrong.
Yeah, you are what you think, right? Your experiences are determined by what you're thinking. That's so true and so right. And, you know, I've painted for a lot of people, for over 1,300 people in the past, 7-8 years. And I have met angelic, very strong, very, very strong. I knew right off the bat that this was an angelic, strong angelic soul. And those people have great compassion. And they usually have pretty crappy lives. And by that, I mean that they have great sickness. And one of the reasons I've noticed why they have great sickness, I mean, things awful like, you know, cancer, that sort of thing, is because they don't allow energy to flow through them. And they're so compassionate that they just keep all of that sorrow and all that grief for all humanity within them. And so it develops in their body as tumors and whatever kind of disruption of their physical energies by not releasing it. So that's important, to call upon your angelic energies, call upon your divine energies to release stress, to release anxiety, so that you can move forward with clear energy, and moving through life in a more pleasurable way.
And we forget that we can call upon our guides and angels during certain time periods. It seems like we only call upon them when things are going bad. You know, like we're in those times of need is when we turn to call upon him. But why don't we call upon him when we just need this project done, or we need this thing to show up, or we need this small thing to happen? I think part of it is what I've learned. If you turn around and ask me, where has my strongest trust came through in spirit or come from in spirit, it has really been when I decided to call upon him for that parking space, a call
Right,
upon him
exactly.
for this thing to be done or that thing to be done. And what happens is when all this magic started to show up in my day-to-day life, it helped me build a stronger relationship with spirit. It helped me really connect to my angels and guides that are within myself, but connect to that aspect that exists within all of us. And when they make these small miracles happen, then you know what? They're going to be there when the big stuff happens.
Well, absolutely. So it's exercising your powers, your recognition, and it begins with the awareness and then the recognition of that it's within you, and then embracing that as yours. So by utilizing it daily, that's why I suggest you just do it with daily prayers, to just automatically say that I am embracing, I call upon all the angels to be with me all day, every day, and this angelic life force energy to move through me, so that I can have a pleasant life and affect others in a pleasant way so that they have pleasant life also. So we're moving towards a more idyllic life experience and life journey. So absolutely, call upon all of those energies to help you move forward. So that's really wonderful that you know how to do that, because it's part of our rights and freedoms as a powerful soul having a human experience, is to recognize that awareness that's within us, that energetic force that's within us, to utilize it and to use it, because we don't unless we're very, very stressed. So bottom line is, accept who and what you are. An angel, focusing through human form, angelic expression, divine expression, powerful soul expression, focusing through human form.
And then I think the magic, one of the magic items that they've really, I want to say that I've heard from my angels and guides that we forget, is sometimes we need to learn how to surrender. And it's like, I used to carry this prayer around, believe it or not, since I was in my early 20s. And it was I don't even know, I think it's an unknown author, but it's a little prayer that pretty much what it basically says is, like a child brings their broken toys, I bring my broken dreams to God. And then God doesn't fix it fast enough, so I jerk it away from him. And I said, you're not doing what I need you to do. And he goes, but child, how could I fix it? You never let it go. And that always, when I found that prayer, it was like at a Hallmark store, and I found that prayer, I took it, because I always wanted to keep it. So when something wasn't working the way I wanted it to work, I would read that prayer to say, am I letting it go? Am I letting the energy around it go? For God to be able to shift and change what needs to shift and change in my life.
Right, to trust and let go that all is well and will be well. Not in exactly your time frame, but as long as you let it go, it will be sooner than later, because you've let it go. Right.
I mean, even talking about what's going on with, COVID-19 and people working at home and things of that nature, when I would tune into my own guidance during this time period, I would turn around and I always hear him say the same thing. You are going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. Just take it one day at a time. Everything is going to be okay. So I've not been really upset. I mean, there's pieces that I would get upset at moments when things weren't working like they should, but I never reached that part of panicking, if that makes any sense. We have all this stuff going on. We're hearing that unemployment is at, 43, million people have now filed, I think they said it was around that number, have now filed unemployment across the United States. That's a big number.
Right. But you don't have to be one of them.
Right.
It depends, because by recognizing that you have the power to manifest and to create, you can always be well, in spite of what the energies are telling you, swirling around you. It's called being in the eye of the storm. My guides told me. They are always talking about be in the eye of the storm. Don't, call upon your energies, call upon that
Right.
energy field to encase you and to move you forward and to create for you. So we have a vast amount of energy available to us. We just, like our brains, we haven't used it. But I think in recognizing this and allowing these energies to be utilized, then we will realize, just how pleasant life is, how good it can be, right? Because we've decided it's going to be.
Right.
So we just have to and hope that mass consciousness gets on board. And I really feel like it has, because there's so much change going on worldwide. It's affecting worldwide experiences, not just in the United States or just not in China. It's worldwide. So this is mass consciousness at its best, creating. Because of contrast, because it didn't like what was happening. So it's decided that it wants change. And so we have change. We have the opportunity to change things, So it's all in the decisions you make and utilizing your energies. Emotions plays a big part in that. So if you can emotionally stay balanced or emotionally desire something, then that will help creation and manifestation. Because I remember when you were telling me, Joy, about your experience with the bank and calling upon the Michael energy, you were very adamant and very conscious of what you were doing in a very forceful way. So that made it happen that much quicker.
Blink of an eye. And it's funny, it's like I have had that happen through this process 4 or 5 times. I mean, like you wake up one day and everything is turned upside down. And I turn around and I turn around and go, okay, guys, you got to create some sort of miracle. How am I going to pay these people their paycheck next month? It's like, I need something. And then all of a sudden it's like, I get a bing, there's an email and it's my landlord says, you know what, with everything going on, so you guys can restructure, don't worry about paying the rent, for April. And I'm like, well, I got the money to pay my employees.
You just ask for it. Ask and it is given. I mean, that seems so simple, right? It's got to be more complicated than that, don't you think? But no, it's not.
But everyone was talking about the struggles that they were having. Oh, I can't get my paycheck, protection program, or I'm not getting the money from, the Small Business Administration. I got everything I asked for. I mean, it just manifested. Everything that I asked for showed up. And I'm like, so then I'm out there saying, okay, who can I help? Who's in a small business? Let me tell you what I did in order to get this. How can I help you get this as well?
Share the wealth, right? In whatever form it is, information or experience or whatever it is. There's a lot of energetic exchange going on, not just money. A lot of people are helping a lot of people. So that's a wonderful thing. It touches our hearts always when we see people providing assistance to others. I know it does me, and I think it does most people. So that's what this time of distress has allowed us to do, to realize what we don't want. So we are vigorously asking for what we do want.
And in essence, though, when I look at it, I have been talking about webinars for 2 years. I just haven't executed it.
So here we are.
For 2 years. And part of it was, I turn around and I'm like, oh, okay. And part of it is, it's not like I didn't execute it. When I tried to do it, people go, oh, I hate classes online, Joy. I'd rather do it in person. I hate, those things online. I'd rather do it in person. And then all of a sudden it was like, so I had everything kind of analyzed in what direction I wanted to move in. So when I did go online and people started to sign up, they're like, well, this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I look at it from a couple of different perspectives. I was psychically getting that we needed to do this,
right?
At some level, that this needed to be done from a business, I'm going to say from a business model perspective. And this gave me the time to do it because I couldn't open the storefront. And usually I'm traveling, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I'm not going to be doing that this year. It's going to really be focusing about how do I take this to the next level. And I feel, I'm not a unique case. No. I feel everyone is in the same boat. It's kind of like everyone's been told, okay, go into your house, take a look of what's underneath that layer.
Right.
What is it you need to work on? What is it you need to change? What is it you need to shift in your everyday life? And I feel like if you listen to what some people are saying, even people who are working from home, what I see is this is going to be a global shift. And what I mean by a global shift, if I look at it from a humanity, I said, you know what? People are not going to be going to offices much longer. What corporate America has just learned is that people can work from home. Why do I have to pay $50,000 for that building in downtown Dallas when I can get people to work from home and get their work done and
Right.
still connect where they're coming in? I can see them coming into a space maybe once a week to gather teams to be able to communicate kind of face to face. But I have a feeling that this has majorly shifted our whole perception of what work life needs to be.
Absolutely. So hopefully that leftover commercial property can be made into classrooms, into maybe university settings, or even apartments and residences. So once again, people will be able to learn and to work at home. So
Right.
much needed, yes, for sure. So
Like if you didn't have to pay all those expenses, and I think what some of them are going to do is those that are more effective at working from home are going to earn bigger paychecks. Now, when I was in corporate America, this was a model I put in place in 2003. I had a quality assurance department, and what happened was I needed to go across all our lines of business and be able to audit certain things, but we did not have the space.
right.
What that meant was I needed to triple my staff, but we didn't have the space where we would have to move into a new building, and that wasn't an option. So at that point, I came up with this idea of working from home. So what I did is my focus was I raised our standards where they had to do 20% higher standards than what they were previously doing, but they got to work from home. They got the same paycheck. They didn't have to pay gas money. They didn't have to pay for daycare. And what ended up happening is I had all these women who were making, actually were making close to $1,500 more a month, because they didn't have all the wear and tear on their car. They didn't have all the, the daycare expense and this kind of stuff. And they outperformed anyone who was working in the office because they didn't want to lose that extra income that they were getting.
Right. It makes much more sense to be able to function in that way than it does to spend a lot of time in traffic and away from your family. So that's a much more workable solution. And apparently mass consciousness figured that out for themselves and created this situation for us. And an opportunity for those souls that no longer want to experience life and this consciousness to move on and to be able to reset. Now, that's not much solace for those left behind who love those people who have chosen their souls. And I'm sure the people have not, but the souls, once again, have chosen to reset and to move on. But what a wonderful opportunity for us to redo our lines of thinking and to gather new perspectives so that we can have new experiences. It's wonderfully exciting, I think. At the same time, it's also disturbing, and it's thrilling, and it's makes me a little anxious, and it's all those roller coaster kind of things going on. So I'm learning really to handle stress differently. I used to go shopping, so it's like my motto was, when the going gets tough, the tough go shopping. Now that doesn't no, it just means I got out of the house and I went and I looked at different things, and so I calmed my energies enough so that I redirected my line of thinking, and I didn't think of whatever problem I had at that time. But I'm not able to do that now, so I'm learning to meditate more. I'm learning to be outside more. I'm learning to appreciate what I have more, and to be more creative also, to use what I have on hand. I didn't realize I had so many paintings at home or so many big canvases. It's like, oh my God, I pulled those things out from like behind bookcases and behind chest of drawers. And it's like, oh gosh, I can paint those now. So it's really an opportunity to bring forth that new energetic expression.
I think what I notice more than anything is I live in a lake. I have a lake lot. I bought it when I was in corporate America in I'm going to say 2000. It was probably the year was 2000 when I bought it. And I never appreciate what I created for myself, because I was always working. I'm always, working late. I'm here till like 10 o'clock at night. And what I notice is every night, I don't care what time it is, I go home and I spend 30 minutes outside by myself.
Oh, and it feels so good, doesn't it? Right now, it looks like you're out with the palm trees and you got.
No, this is my backyard now.
You're right there on the beach, cheering on. So, yeah, I know. So it makes you appreciate, your own backyard. Who would thought that we needed a reset to appreciate our own backyard? But we really did. So here we go. Any questions or anything else from anyone? All right. Let's see. So our next, our next line of consciousness has to do with angel wars. That's an interesting subject. I've come across different energies in my painting experience with people, and I felt different warrior. There's not a lot of them, but there are sometimes very distinct warrior energies, and they're definitely the Michael clan. Information that I've been given in the past talks about a war that was fought between the angelic life force expression and a serpentine life force expression. So that's very interesting. I had someone that I met tell me about an experience that she had in Carlsbad Caverns, where she felt that she could feel angelic presence embedded, or energies embedded into the walls of the cavern, and she knew what each formation was going to look like before she actually experienced it for the first time. So I found that to be very interesting, and in doing so, I asked my guides about this experience for her, and they related that there were the warrior clan of Michael energies focused upon fighting a energy that wanted dominion of this galaxy, the serpentine energies. At one time, the angelic energies and the serpentine energies lived in peace and harmony, but as it goes with even here in our world now, an opposing energy or life force or country or politician or president or whoever from whatever country decides they want dominion over most everything, then we have to have a little battle. Well, there was a very big battle that was fought, and there were several. It went on for some time above the earth and below the earth in caverns. And why this is important and why I want to address this tonight is it talks about energetic expression, and that how our energies are part of all things. So what she was feeling and recognizing was something like a generational remembrance of who and what she was in that particular embodiment. So what that meant for her was to understand that she's a very powerful expression, a very powerful soul expression. Now, I don't know that she's really accepted that information yet, but that's the information that I gave her. And in addition to the information for her, my guides also gave me information relating to DNA remembrances. So there, and DNA that is within us that is being activated at this time to help us awaken and to really embody and to experience life on a more elevated level. So in her instance, by being in that place and time in Carlsbad Caverns, she remembered as her soul energy fought for karmic life expression to be lived out on this plane of existence, this world, this galaxy. So it was kind of fought, the energetic war was kind of fought in those instances with something like sonar. So a soul energy was in like a formless expression, but it had a energetic signature. And so by feeling a different energetic signature, it was able to extinguish or redirect or remove that other unidentified energetic signature. So what does that information mean for us? For me, in my understanding, it helped me realize that we are all moving energy and that our bodies are a vehicle. And what we've been taught in church, that our bodies are a temple, is the truth as far as honoring your temple, to eating right, and to your thought processes, because we're such energetic expressions. So that it helps to understand the power of all that you are, and how such things as the past, present, and future can be happening at the same time, because we're moving, evolving, fluid, energetic expressions. Now that doesn't seem like that's the truth when you like break your arm or something, right? It's like, I don't understand how that could be, but if you could imagine, we are what we imagine, we are what we think, we are what we perceive, and we create and with those perceptions and those thoughts and those ideas. So I found that that information to be very interesting. So Joy, have you ever heard of anything like that before?
Like you're talking about I have heard the expression of angel wars before. I have also heard, part of it is it's really all part of God, good, bad, or ugly. It really doesn't matter,
Right.
what it is. It's kind of like when we want to identify, when we want to learn something, sometimes we have to learn it the hard way.
Well, that provides contrast so that we can create by an opposing thought.
And when I've heard things like that expressed before, it's kind of like it was all meant to be. And a prime example of that, I would say, of my own personal example of that, would have been at one point I used to feel what I would call negative energies around me.
Mm-hmm,
Now, negative is relative, right?
right.
You just turn around and we just don't like the way it feels, so it must be a negative energy that's around me. So
Right.
part of it was just like I would always get this really weird feeling, or this lower, what I would call a lower vibration and frequency.
A heavy feeling?
A yicky feeling and things of that nature. And what ended up happening was it used to put me at the state of terror at certain points in my life, fear at certain points of my life. And then one day it was after I opened up the store, and it was open for about 5 years. All of a sudden it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I see this being crawl across the thing. It was like the ugliest thing. I would have said it was demonic.
Wow.
That's what I would have said. And all of a sudden I just looked, I didn't react, I didn't respond. And I said, I've had enough. It's time for you to go. And all of a sudden it had the most beautiful smile on its face, and its eyes got really light, and it just went through the wall. And all I heard is, when you learn how to love your demons, they will become your angels. And I realized on some level it was my teacher. It was there to teach me to not be afraid.
Right. Right.
My own power, to step forward in my own power, and realize that there's nothing outside of me that can harm me, that it is part of who we are, if that makes any sense.
Right. So being aware that you had that power, you utilized it, you accepted it, you embraced it, and you use it to vanish a darkness that could have gone a different way. It could have been intensified had you allowed your fear to move in that direction. But because you embraced your power, it did not.
If that makes any sense, when I would become more fearful, the energy would become stronger.
Yes.
The stronger I became, the stronger it became. So in essence, I'm like, well, wait a minute. And when I would turn around and try to analyze this, I said, well, nothing's ever really hurt me.
Right.
It's not like nothing outside of me has ever really hurt me. I said, I'm still here. you know, it hadn't really grabbed a hold of me or anything. And part of it says, so what's giving it power? What's giving its power is my fear of it. And the more afraid I became, the stronger or more negative it appeared to be. And when I was able to stand in that power, then all of a sudden it became light. So at the same essence, are these outside of us, or are these aspects of our soul that we are meant to embrace in order to shift those perceptions?
Oh, that's an interesting idea. Wow. Let me see here. Personally, I think I have a different opinion than what my guides are saying. My guides say that it was part of your learning experience. And so it was a part of you, actually. How funny is that? Who would have thought? Wow. Yeah, you set that up as a lesson in calling forth, not a lesson, but an opportunity to call forth that energy. Once again, you're embracing your power. So, yeah, it was an aspect of you that you challenged yourself. You provided yourself a little obstacle there, a little opportunity to overcome. Just like you did with the bank, with your finances. Same sort of deal, right? So that's another example of calling that forth. Wow, that's interesting. I hadn't really thought of that before. But a lot of times I've noticed, not a lot of times, but several times I've noticed people, they may have extreme reactions to somebody. And unfortunately, this happens in married couples sometimes. It's like they have a partner who just triggers things in them that causes them great discomfort. When I ask about it, I'm being told that actually their partner is their soul beloved who agreed to come with them to help them embrace and overcome certain obstacles. It could be in deciding to leave an unfortunate partnership or an uncomfortable partnership. It could be as easy as that, but that particular soul energy was just different enough from theirs to provide an irritation, to provide an opportunity like you had to overcome and to make a decision. So yeah, it's really interesting to realize how all these energetic expressions, they interact with each other, and they influence each other, and they provide opportunities to learn to embrace your power. It's all about embracing your power. That's what is so important. My guides are stressing to me all the time, is to recognize it, to be aware of it, to recognize it, and to embrace it as your own, and then utilize it. It sounds simple, right? Mm-hmm. It kind of is if you don't think about it, and you just can embed that thought process into your consciousness so you can call it forth. So that's what I'm trying to learn to do daily, every day, in every way. And apparently you've got it down really well. So kudos to you.
Well, I'm still working on it. I call it an onion experience. Does that make sense? An onion experience. You peel
that's kind of smelly, right?
You peel another layer and you see the next one.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Yeah. It's once again, it's exciting to be in this time and space and to have these different opportunities.
And also, if you want to look at it from an energetic perspective, we chose to incarnate into a duality. Earth is a duality. Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily bad and it's not necessarily good. It's kind of like this duality. It's different frequencies and different energies. And mm-hmm. I feel an energetic perspective is when we release, whether it's emotions and things of that nature, whether they're positive or the negative, we're feeding both sides of that equation. It's the yin and the yang. When you look at it from a Native American tradition or a shamanism position, they talk about embracing their shadow side, embracing their dark side, embracing that darkness, because by embracing it, you end up transmuting that energy, or transforming that energy into something more positive.
Definitely, yeah. So we have those opportunities sometimes all day, every day, you know. So just moving forward and with that in mind and applying that, it's like a new way of expressing, a new way of experiencing life beyond what we've been taught as a truth. We've been taught a lot of untruths, so it's time to unlearn those untruths and to move forward in a feeling kind of manner, to embrace the feeling of what feels good instead of what our mind tells us is good, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all involved. All right, so moving forward, are there any questions or anything you'd like to discuss? Joy, you have any questions? Or anybody else? All righty. So that's what I have for us tonight.
So why don't you channel Uriel for us?
All righty.
Bring Uriel in, and let's just see if there's a message for the group from Uriel with all this stuff that we've been talking about.
All right, just give me a few minutes here to connect, or a moment. Dear ones, it is our pleasure to experience your consciousness in a setting befitting those of your kind as you move forward in this space and time dimension, to include self-awareness of power and perception unknown to the realities of normal acceptance in this time and place. Moving forward within the energetic expression provided will allow great pleasures coming forth from the balanced reality of all that you are and will be. This means that as you accept and allow energetic flow to move through you, you will be provided opportunities to experience beyond a limited expression in lifetime. You will be able to call forth to heal your body, your mind, and your energetic expression to extend and expand your consciousness, including extended life force energy. Whereas those who are unable to accept elevated energies and acceptance of their personal power will find it difficult to continue expression on this plane of existence. As the planet evolves, so will humanity's consciousness, to a point in time where there will be a conflict between those who accept new self-awareness and those who continue to think of expression outside of themselves and not within themselves. This news can be distressing, but it can also be comforting to those who wish to move forward in an elevated style of expression. In learning to embrace the energetic expression of all you are, you will be provided a new, refreshed, regenerative experience of mind, body, and soul. By calling forth these energies to heal your body, by letting go of stress, of anxiety, of pain and sorrow and grief, in this lifetime and all other lifetimes, you clear the way for continued experience on a more balanced level. Therefore, we suggest, as always it is a suggestion, to choose to trust that all is well in your world, even though the actual mass consciousness around you will tell you otherwise. Accept this truth as your own and move forward with grace and balance and peace. We go now, holding your hearts within ours tenderly as we move forward into new elevated consciousness and experience together in this time and space dimension. So, hopefully that will help you move forward with increased trust and awareness of the power within you.
So my question, Kay, is, what I would probably finish up with is, let's do some sort of a meditation that clears our energy field.
Okay,
Helps us
great.
actually remove any energy that needs to be removed around us.
Sure. Well, I'd like to share with you the one that I do every day. And I've just had insurance in the past couple, well, this year because it's provided, by the government, because I'm on Social Security. So, otherwise I haven't had insurance for about 7 years, and I've stayed well. I was given this particular meditation when I came home sick with bronchitis when we went to Egypt, and the air quality was so bad there, and we were all tired and came back with all this congestion. So this is a meditation that I was given. So, all right, let's take a few deep breaths through our nose. Out through our mouths. We'll do that again. And imagine your sacred heart space opening deep within you as a brilliant, beautiful, expanding ball of light consciousness. It's moving in and around and through you at all times. And as you're doing so, envision your divine consciousness, your divine energies moving up through your feet, through your ankles, and your calves, and your knees, up through your thighs and hips, all the way to your shoulders, up your back, and your chest. It's releasing all pain, all sorrow, all grief, all imperfection, all infection, all negativity and stress. This radiant energy is moving in and around and through you at all times, refreshing, renewing, regenerating every cell, every molecule, every atom of your body, mind, and soul. And it's moving down through your arms and to your fingertips and back up to your shoulders. It's moving up through your neck and your throat, clearing all blockages as it goes, and up through your head and above you. Once again, this radiant energy is moving in and around and through you at all times, refreshing, renewing, regenerating every cell, every molecule, every atom of your body, mind, and soul. And now imagine radiant, golden yellow energy moving up through your feet, through the center, up through your legs, through the center of your bones, and in and around and through your bodies, and up through the center of all that you are, up through your beginning in your root chakra, moving all the way up as you're saying, I am the ascension and the light. And now the orange energy of vitality and radiant good health is moving up through your feet, and through your legs, up through your torso and your arms, as you're saying, I am radiantly healthy in body, mind, and soul. And now the pink energies, the rose pink energies of Mother Mary is moving up through your feet and your body, up through your chakras, in your body, all the way up, clearing as you're saying, I am divinely guided and directed, loved and protected. And now the violet energies of Saint Germain, of transformation, of transcendence is moving up through your body, up through your legs, and up through your central chakra, all the way up, cleansing. As you're saying, I am transformed into a powerful being of love energy and light knowledge, focusing through a human form. And now, indigo blue energies filled with stars and galaxies and planets moving up through your body, little twinkling stars and galaxies dancing along your body, up through your torso, through your chakra clearing, moving up through your body, all the way up through your chakras, every one of them, as you're saying, I am a cosmic expression of God in all things. And now, the emerald green energy of Hathor is moving up through your feet and your body, up through your chakras. As you're saying, all the way up through your chakras, through your heart chakra, and all the way up, as you're saying, I am creation. I create. And now the green energies of green Tara, the energies of prosperity and abundance are moving up through your body, through your legs, up through the center of you, through your chest, all the way up your chakras, as you are saying, I am prosperous. I am abundant. I am a money magnet. And now, turquoise blue energies of the oceans, of earth oceans, moving up through your body in waves, up through your knees, into your hips, moving gently, up through all of your chakras, up through your torso, up through your head, clearing your chakras, as you're saying, I am calm, I am balanced, I am peaceful. And now to finish and to encapsulate your energies, the platinum energies of Sophia, the divine energies moving up through your body, forming the outer layer of your rainbow light body. Your personal Merkaba is moving up through your chakras, through your body. And now imagine your rainbow light body is being lifted high upon your head. And it is turning onto itself, creating a ball of rainbow light and energy. As once again, you release all fear, all anxiety, all stress, all negativity. And as your energies are being recalibrated, you are calm, you are peaceful, you are accepting radiant good health, joy, happiness, love, and all manner of good things. And now imagine your energies unfurling itself and moving slowly back into your body. And experience the peace and calm, the abundance of all good things, the transformation, the peace and well-being once again, and the comfort and the power of all you are. As you return to consciousness in this time and space, come back refreshed and energized, and know that you are one with all things, always and forever.
So, Kay, do you have any final thoughts before we end this tonight? Or Janetta, do you have any questions at this point?
No, it's just clear that I need to make it a habit of calling upon my angelic consciousness, because I tend to only in times of some stress or something that's challenging me. But it's very clear that I need to do this on a daily basis throughout the day with just about everything.
Oh man, I just got head chills. Gosh, thank you so much for saying that. It just made me feel so good. Thank you. That's the purpose of this exercise tonight. Exactly. Thank you so much for giving me that gift of recognition. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being here with us. Thank you. Thank you, Joy.
I really enjoyed this. I hope we have more sessions like this, Joy.
We will. We will. We're really working on trying to make it real for people, if that makes any sense. It's kind of like we get this stuff at this level and we're trying to bring it down where it can be digested and received.
Yeah.
To people. And I feel like now's the time to just tell people it's time to take control over our everyday lives.
Yes.
You know, and stay focused in the present moment and stay focused in what's right in front of us and not really worry about, because what would happen, and I had this conversation with Kay, when this first happened and it's like I'm shutting down for a month and a half, I would tell her, if I go and look at August, I can't see how my world is going to exist.
Right.
You know, and part of it is like, I'm like, everything that I love about what it is that I create, the important stuff, like selling the trinkets are not really important to me. It's the classrooms and it's the channeling and it's that spiritual stuff that pulling people together in big groups. And I couldn't see it. And what I kept hearing was my guidance kept saying, don't focus on August, focus on today. Don't focus on August, focus on today. Just start taking this one day at a time. You're going to be able to do that. And I understand what they're saying. When we started doing these meetings or these webinars where people are gathering, I realized that you still can have spirit. You can still share this with each other, no matter what happens within your world. So it is really, I know it's Kay in my mission, especially part of it is me kicking Kay in the butt to do this.
Exactly. She's dragging me into that, whatever century we're in, right?
But it was more about, I have watched her do this moment to moment. She's my traveling buddy when it's like going to go buy merchandise for the store. She's been the one that goes with me on these road trips to buy crystals and things of that nature. And I look at what she does every day. She embodies this.
Oh, thank you for saying so. I have a wonderful, beautiful, magical life, really. So it's great to be
life asking for her guidance every day and her affirmations. And I'm like, you have to teach this to people.
Yes.
Have to make this easy so they understand how easy this really is. I think what happens is, we get these books that say, go and do these affirmations and go out and do this. No one really makes it easy for people to be able to do this. And it can be that easy. It could be talking to a friend.
Right. So it's much easier. Don't make it complicated. The words are not as important as the intention. And the purpose and the focus. That's the the energetic expression of it. The right words, there are no right and wrong words. It's just words. And they have power in their own, but when you combine that with intent and purpose, you can do so much more than you ever imagined possible. So that's what my message is to embrace all that you are so that you can be all that you're meant to be. So thank you, Joy, for allowing me to do this.
You're welcome. And thank you
for being here.
And giving us confirmation that this is the direction we have to move in.
Yes, really.
Yeah. I'm an online person. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Awesome. We love you too.
So we'll put some more out there, Janetta, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, it was a great pleasure. to experience your energies, Janetta. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.